Has this opened up new avenues of your friendship now that you're kind of working together and very closely, I guess, maybe more closely than the past? Or bond, we'll call
We're
it a friendship.
we're definitely navigating that relationship right now. There's things that we have to get used to, especially when we're working together with like our entrance and who gets the spotlight and who, stands where and does what. And, Charlotte likes to have the spotlight on her at all times, which I get, so do I. So that's been a fun dynamic to figure out. I made her use pom poms last week to cheer me on in my match because I used the pom poms to cheer her on. So it's definitely, I think, bringing us out of our boxes a little bit of what we're used to doing. And it's been a fun adjustment, I would say.
She was pretty open about what the pop for her at Evolution meant. Do you think she gets kind of a bad rub from maybe a bad shake from the audience that only see just how much Charlotte Flair wins and gets titles and doesn't always think about Ashley and how and what the person she is and how it affects things affect her?
Well, that there's a reason why they say, it's lonely at the top, it's she's really successful. And, sometimes that's what happens when you're super successful. People um try to bring you down, whether that's booing you on stage or anything like that. And I think she's handled it all with like really good grace and understanding because she's super talented at what she does, and she's one of the strongest people in the ring that I've ever been up against or have teamed with. And I think it's hard when you love something so much and you want to be really good at it, and when you are good at it, sometimes it makes people feel away. And I don't think that should take away from her and her ability and her, she deserves those cheers. She deserves to be celebrated because she is one of our most decorated women we have on the roster.
You've obviously kept, Lily, some of the, obviously clothing similar to when you were with Bray. Is that something you want to keep for a while, just as, kind of a homage where you can kind of work the character around that, even if, there's still kind of some remnants of this past version of Alexa we're seeing?
Yeah, I always try to keep, obviously I like to evolve and change my characters a lot and change the look and the mentality and the attitude. But, something I definitely want to try to keep a part of Wyndham with me any way that I can because, he was such an impactful person on our whole industry. And, me working with him was the most fun I've ever had in my career. And if there's a way that I can always, pay tribute to him and thank him for everything he's done for me in this business, I'm going to do it because he was such an impact on all of us. And I think the best way to keep someone's memory alive is to, just keep them around. And that's what I'm doing. I'm keeping parts of him around. And I think it also brings me comfort, and it's been nice.
Do you feel like at some point there has to be some sort of interaction with the Wyatt Six? I know people probably thought that was something you were going to jump into right out of the gate, but is that something you would look forward to at some point when the timing's right down the line?
I fully believe, I've said this before, and I think, you know, Wyndham said it best when he said, him and I will always be connected in some way. And if we were to ever reconnect, it would be in a big way. And if that's through the Wyatt Six, that's cool. That's awesome. Right now, my focus is Charlotte. And, if that ever brought me to the Wyatt Six or maybe Charlotte to the Wyatt Six, I don't know. We don't know. We're seeing a new side of Charlotte. Who knows where it goes? No, I think that would be a lot of fun. And, I'm open to every avenue when it comes to creative because I just love testing myself, especially creatively in different avenues, different journeys. And if it brings the Wyatt Six together with Alexa Bliss, that'd be fun. And I think that would be something that would be really cool to see. The time I took the time as, who is Alexa Bliss now? Who is the character now? What is she going to do now that's different than what she's done the past 10 to 12 years, and how does that fit into the current roster, into the current storyline, into the current division because everything changed so much. I was gone for 2 years.
Right.
So it's just finding that puzzle piece and where everything fits and everything aligns. And, I think the creative team has done an amazing job fitting me back in where it's been fun and it's, you know, ignited a lot more creative aspect. And yeah, I'm enjoying it.
How has motherhood kind of changed your appreciation of all this? It seems like your little one is with you a lot on the road. I don't know if she's with you is she with you all the time or
She's with me majority of the time, yeah, on the road. So my
uh,
husband still tours, and so she goes with me.
how has that changed just your appreciation of all this, where it seems like she's enjoying and getting to experience obviously all this for the first time with you?
Yeah, it's awesome. I love having Hendrix with me on the road. Um, Obviously, when my husband tours every weekend, and so when he's able to come, it's fun because it's like a whole family affair. And I love being able to look ringside and see her there in her little headphones. And she's really starting to enjoy watching the shows, which is really cool. And for me, it's more like, hey, like I need you to think I'm cool one day. So I need you to be here and be a part of it.
Obviously, we lost Hulk Hogan this week. You got to you got to be on stage with him at WrestleMania 35 while you were hosting. What do you remember about kind of that moment and just kind of interacting with him that day, kind of before and during that?
I was super excited because I had never worked with him before, obviously. And I thought it was just such a cool moment to be able to go out and hit the iconic flexing poses. It's one thing to go out there and flex like Hulk Hogan, but to flex with Hulk Hogan is pretty cool. And it was a really cool moment. And it was actually a moment that my husband had recorded on his phone and he didn't realize that I was the one posing with Hogan. This was before we met. He's like, "Oh, I have this cool video of Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania." And I go, "Yeah, that's me." And he was like, "That's not you." And I go, "Yeah, that's me." He goes, "That's Hulk Hogan." I said, "Yeah, but you see that blonde right there next to him? That's me." But it was a cool moment, a moment that I'll obviously never forget. Super iconic moment. And yeah, I had an amazing time that day. And, obviously we're really sorry and condolences to the family and everyone. And it's just he just made such an impact on our industry. And but to be able to have a moment that I got to share a stage with him was really cool.
What would it mean for you and Charlotte to obviously bring home these, women's tag team titles? And do you think that would be the thing that might, kick you over the line to friendship?
I personally haven't held any title in a long time, so I think it would be awesome. The last tag title I held was years ago. And I've had amazing tag team partners, and if it's something that Charlotte and I are able to accomplish, that would be awesome. I don't know if it'll make us friends because at the end of the day, we're still allies of convenience.
Alexa, I appreciate a couple of minutes. I know we're all enjoying seeing you guys, you and Charlotte get to show kind of this different side of yourselves. It's always kind of fun to watch people who you don't think maybe should interact get together, and you go, yeah, that works.
Yeah, it's been fun.